All right, we're going deep inside the digital world today. We're going to unmask one of the most stealthy, most persistent forms of malware ever designed, the rootkit.
And you know, that quote, it absolutely hits the nail on the head for what we're investigating. We're not talking about some brute force attack that kicks down the door. No, we're hunting a ghost. One that's already become part of the very foundation of the machine.
So, to really get a handle on this thing, we've got to understand where it fits in the whole landscape of digital dangers. Let's start building our profile.
Okay, let's get on the same page real quick. We've all heard the term malware, right? It's the big catch-all term for any nasty software. We're talking viruses, worms, trojans, all that stuff. But what we're digging into today, it's in a whole different league of sneaky.
It's time to put this culprit under the microscope. Let's break down what exactly a rootkit is and what makes this threat so dangerously unique. So here's the core of it. A rootkit has a two-part mission, and it's absolutely brilliant in a terrifying way. Part 1, get total God mode access to a system. Part 2, do it so quietly that no one ever knows you're there. It's a game of ultimate stealth and absolute control. And the name, well, it basically tells you the whole story. In operating systems like Linux, root is the super user, the administrator with the keys to the entire kingdom. So a rootkit is literally a toolkit for becoming the king of the castle.
And this is where you really see the difference in philosophy. Most malware is loud. It's like a vandal spray painting your walls. You know something's wrong because your computer slows to a crawl or files go missing. But a rootkit, its goal is the exact opposite. It wants to be the perfect house guest, one that never, ever leaves and secretly controls everything from the inside.
So once it's got that deep, silent control, what does it do? Well, pretty much anything it wants. It can roll out the red carpet for other malware, acting like an invisibility cloak. It can quietly copy your passwords, your bank info, you name it. And maybe the scariest part, it can poke the eyes out of your security software, making it completely blind.
So how do they actually pull this off? Let's get into the nitty-gritty of their tradecraft. This is where things get really clever, and frankly, a little terrifying. See, not all rootkits are created equal. Think of your computer like a skyscraper. Some rootkits hang out on the main floors. That's user mode. Annoying, but manageable. The really dangerous ones, though, they dig way down into the building's foundation, the very core of the operating system. That's the kernel. Some even get into the power grid before the building's lights are even on. That's a bootkit. Let's just focus on those kernel mode rootkits for a second, because they are the apex predators. The kernel is the absolute brain of your operating system. It manages everything. So if a rootkit gets in there, it's not just a program on the OS, it basically becomes part of the OS, giving it the power to lie and hide anything it wants. And then there are bootkits, which take things to a whole other level. I mean, look at this. You hit the power button. Before Windows or Mac OS or anything you'd recognize even starts to load, the bootkit is already awake and in charge. So by the time you're typing in your password, yeah, you're logging into a system that's already owned from the ground up.
So, the big question is, how do these things get onto a machine in the first place? Well, it's usually the classic methods. It might be hiding inside some free software you downloaded, a good old Trojan horse, or it could slip through a security hole in an application you haven't updated yet. And of course, if an attacker gets their hands on an admin password, they can just walk right in the front door.
Okay, so now we know how they work. Let's talk about why they are such an absolute nightmare for cybersecurity pros to find.
I mean, really think about that for a second. How do you find something that's designed from the ground up to be completely invisible? It's not just hiding. It's actively tricking the system, the very system you trust, into believing it belongs there.
This is what we call persistence, and it's what makes them so tough. A rootkit doesn't just hide. It actively manipulates the system to keep itself alive. So when your antivirus software asks the operating system, hey, are there any suspicious files here? The rootkit intercepts that question and says, nope, all clear. It turns your own system into an accomplice.
And this is exactly why your standard antivirus program often just isn't up to the task. It's looking for a list of known bad guys, but the rootkit can make itself invisible to that scan. To find it, you have to get smarter. You can check if core system files have been tampered with, but the best bet? Behavioral analysis. You stop looking for specific files and start looking for weird behavior, for the system doing things it just shouldn't be doing.
And let's say you actually find one. Now what? Well, this is the really bad news. Because it's woven so deeply into the fabric of your OS, the only way to be 100% sure it's gone is often to burn it all down. We're talking a complete wipe and reinstall of everything. And for those firmware rootkits that live in the hardware, you might literally have to replace a piece of your computer. No joke.
Okay, that was a lot of doom and gloom, so let's flip the script. How can we actually defend ourselves against these things? Let's get into prevention.
Look, the best fight is the one you don't have to have. So first off, enforce what's called least privilege. Don't give every account admin rights. Use modern features like Secure Boot, which basically checks the ID of everything that tries to load at startup. Keep everything updated. Those patches close the very holes rootkits love to crawl through. And finally, you've got to be watching for anything that just feels off.
And this is where the fight is really leveling up now. We're using advanced tools, a lot of them powered by AI, to fight back. Instead of just looking for known threats, these systems learn what normal looks like on your network. They build a baseline, and then they hunt for any deviation from that baseline, no matter how tiny.
So if you remember just one thing from all of this, let it be this. A rootkit isn't a sledgehammer, it's a scalpel. Its true danger isn't in loud destruction, it's in quiet, total control. It's the ultimate puppet master pulling all the strings from behind the curtain.
And that really says it all, doesn't it? The most significant threats are almost always the ones operating just beneath the surface, completely hidden from view. It makes you wonder, what might be hiding in your system right now?